save you thousands.
Welcome back. Environmental activists are leading Earth Day commemorations under the theme Our Power, Our Planet. The day is aimed at celebrating the planet and exploring ways to conserve it. It was first celebrated back in 1970 when the masses turned out to march against environmental pollution. For more on Earth Day, I'm joined by Alastair, founder and CEO of Insight Terra. Thank you so much, Alastair, for joining us on Newsnight this evening. The focus this year is squarely on clean energy, on tripling the clean energy produced by 2030. So could you give us some context to how mine trailings fit into that conversation?
Mine tailings are a byproduct of the mining process, and the mine tailings are stored in tailings facilities, and these have to be managed throughout the life of the mine and during the post-closure activities of the mine. So they're an important waste product that needs to be managed. And this is partly why we need to ensure that we proactively monitor these facilities.
How does South Africa measure up in terms of management practices, especially in light of recent mine tailings dam failures globally?
So interestingly, South Africa is one of the leading engineering practices in the world. And recently, the Global Tailings Institute has been announced and been formed in South Africa. And this is to leverage South Africa's experience and engineering talent to help audit and provide inspections of dams globally. So we have a really strong talent base, and we need more engineers. And there's a call for more engineers to get trained and get involved.
Where does this responsibility lie for adequate management? Purely with private mining entities, or does the state also hold part of that responsibility?
The miner with their mining license is the ultimate, they're ultimately accountable, but it is a collaborative effort, and the new global industry standard on tailings management really challenges not only the mining company, but shareholders, investors, communities to get involved in the process. You know, responsible and safe mining is still good business.
It is a little bit surprising, but certainly incredibly positive to hear you say that we are, among world leaders in terms of responsible management of mine tailings. It's surprising because, we hear so often of infrastructure failing, infrastructure maintenance lagging behind. We have such a huge problem with illegal mining and failure to close up mines effectively. So it is great news that we are doing so well in terms of managing these byproducts. What could we possibly do even better to contribute further to, looking after the environment?
I think the key thing is to continue advocating for the adoption of best practices, ensure new engineers are being trained for the future. There will be across the world more and more mines developed, and these will require more engineers, and we need to ensure that we leave a legacy for our children.
Clean energy requires minerals, and 80% of those minerals, I believe, are found here in South Africa. So there is a lot of scope for expansion, and then there's going to be a lot of demand for these minerals as we try and increase the amount of clean energy we provide. Just give us some stats or an overview, if you will, of what the future looks like in terms of increasing excavation or access to these minerals, and what impact that would likely have on mine tailings, and then increasing need for better management.
Well, the World Bank estimates that more than 4 billion tons of materials is required to fuel the energy transition, and that's going to require more than 500 mines across the world. So assuming that besides the geopolitical environment, that demand continues, there's going to be a bigger need for more mining across the world, and responsible mining.
You talk about the role that engineers and good talent plays, but tell us a little bit more about how technology can help us manage mine tailings better and contribute ultimately to cleaner power.
Well, there's a lot of R&D happening in tailings technology, from reducing water in the tailings to technology that helps to recycle the water, as well as data and AI to help proactively monitor and manage and provide mitigations to prevent failures from occurring. So it's a real combination of different technologies coming together to really optimize and mine efficiently.
Would you say that our South African mining industry or mining sector has a culture of environmental stewardship? Is that the lived reality, and can you see the effects of that?
Look, I'm involved at many sites, and we definitely see a safety environmental culture. There's always room for improvement. I do believe that there needs to be stronger community and stakeholder involvement. Communities have a unique perspective. They have unique knowledge and experience and historical knowledge. And I think that's important to be able to adapt and adopt that knowledge into the sustainable mining practices.
If we need more collaborative input from communities, how would that look like, and how do we try and foster that?
Well, that could be, for example, training programs. It could be working to co-develop emergency response plans, get involved in drills, perhaps get involved in community science programs to become observers and contribute to the monitoring. So there's different ways that communities could get involved and establish and get involved from a civil and science perspective. It's a really complex task and challenge, and there's a lot of opportunity to develop it further, and for South Africa to be world leaders in this domain.
And that's not just communities living near or in mining communities, that is all of us. And if you just think of Gauteng, there are so many mines in Gauteng that all of us really should have a lot more knowledge about the management, the effects and the impact on the environment. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We do appreciate your insights on this Earth Day. That was CEO and founder of Insight Terra, Alastair Bovim. Now, parts of the Eastern Cape are